Going direct. And we're there.
We open wide the virtual stage where ideas spark and wisdom fills the page. From the UK to the land of maple trees, John and Mike bring clarity with ease. We're building meetings, webinars with might, helping you shine, your message taking flight. Whether you're new or you've done this before, Lord Zoom Live will help you do much more. We're building meetings, webinars with might, helping you shine, your message taking flight. Whether you're new or you've done this before, Lord Zoom Live will help you do much more. Thank you for joining us, we're glad you're here. Together we grow, it's loud and clear. On Zoom we connect, we learn, we grow. Welcome my friend, enjoy the show.
Welcome on this Friday. Hello, production buddies. Hope you're well. I'm not really quite sure how to introduce this, apart from saying that since I had a meeting with certain people at Vizrt, I'm not sleeping very well. They had two products that are Zoom related, which got my interest, and we're going to talk about one in some detail, and we're going to discuss the other in some detail. So let's have a look at the first product that we want to have a look at, and that is the one that we're going to spend the most time on. It's called, now I've got to get it right here, Vizrt CaptivAIte. I think that's how we say it. They've done some play on words here, and I'm not sure exactly how they're playing, but it doesn't matter. This is an amazing product and what we'll be spending most of our time on. But before that, we're going to speak about its minor cousin, which is also available for Zoom. And this is Viz Interactive AI. I'll say that again just to make sure I got it right. Vizrt Interactive AI. And what this product is it's an overlay product. Wonderful. We've got a few overlay products already. Still none do what I think could be done, but I'm hoping they'll be moving in that direction. So the guys at Vizrt have overlay products for their broadcast customers they use, and they've ported some of this technology across for us, which is beautiful, wonderful. This is the example off the website, and I had a meeting with them, and this is a screenshot that I took off the meeting. I've edited it somewhat here, so you can see that there is Nicholas showing it to me with the overlays, and to the right of that you can see the control screen, shall we call it, that runs inside Zoom that allows you to turn on, turn off, and customize these features. So you can create overlays, you can create tickers, you can have pop-up boxes. It's all very neat. And we are not going to go into too much detail about it for two reasons. The first reason is I didn't have enough time to learn all the features to really relay to you. And of course, the second reason, I don't have it yet, but it is available quite soon. So rather than be very vague and whatever about this product, it just seems silly to do that and then be able to come back to you in just a few weeks and say, look, this is the product, you can now use it, it's in the Zoom marketplace, and here it is. So we will deal with this product later. let's get back to CaptivAIte. And the story for this is so simple. I can do it in 30 seconds. We all know that the typical boardroom might look modern and sexy and LED lights. But at the end of the day, what are we doing? We're just sticking one big TV screen on the wall behind us. And let's be honest, what's the difference? Okay, it looks a bit more sexy, but what is the difference between that and an overhead projector that we were using, what, 10, 15 years ago? The technology has improved. The presentation, with all due respect, it's still as boring as it ever was, is it not? This is why these interactive touchscreens are exciting, because we need to move on. And if you want to move on, then these guys have the ultimate move on. Vizrt can build the technology for you to have a TV studio with some pundits and some sports going on, with big graphic walls and drop-down graphics and all the sort of thing we've seen for Formula One. I don't know which ones they do, by the way, but it could be a Formula One show, it could be a soccer show, it could be a American football show, it could be a basketball show, could be the NBA, and all these wonderful things. And for most of those situations, they do not spend tens of thousands of dollars building this big studio and buying these great big LCD panels and screens. Well, not at the moment, because those are still too expensive. What they'll do is they'll do it in green screen. So they'll have a green screen surrounding the studio, and maybe the desk is real, the pundits are real, their chairs are real, but everything else around them is probably being projected in by green screen. And that is something that these guys do. Ooh, it sounds nice, doesn't it? Doesn't it sound, dare I say again, sexy? If I say that too much, I'm going to get blocked by YouTube. But I think it would look really cool. So how about we do that within your conference room? Rather than having a big graphic on the wall, why can't we bring that graphic into the 3D space and put it on the desk in front of everybody? Okay, a 3D graphic of a sales forecast, maybe not my idea of cool graphics, but it does look a lot better. It looks a lot more interactive. You can work with the graphic rather than it floating above you on a TV screen. I think this technology could be really cool. But what do I know about TV world? Absolutely zilch. So I think we better bring in somebody who knows a lot more about the TV world than I do every day of the week. Mike Latter, are you there?
And if I hit the right buttons, I think the answer is yes. I keep hitting all kinds of buttons back here, John. Hi, everybody. Welcome.
Excellent.
So John's playing with Vizrt this week.
Yeah, makes production studio look a little bit dated, but we got to start somewhere. We've all got to start somewhere, haven't we?
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, again, this is not for the faint of heart. It will not be your production studio replacement, but if it is, then you will obviously see the difference between production studio and this product. Because
this is like the other extreme, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. This is the absolute other extreme. Now, will production studio maybe have some of these capabilities soon? Maybe, if we talk to the right people at Zoom. Maybe.
Well, this is a Zoom room product now, Mike. So this is working in conjunction with Zoom rooms. So there's no reason why we couldn't bring yeah, if Vizrt would give us a copy, because I don't think I can afford one just for one presentation. But if we had this connected to my Zoom Rooms device upstairs, then we could bring on my Zoom Rooms device upstairs in as an input, and you could mix it into Production Studio. Yeah, certainly.
Yes, correct. In that regards, yes, absolutely. But again, the processing is being done by the Vizrt software before it joins Zoom.
Yeah.
So that's where the difference is. And
Yeah,
it's
this
very
is
important to understand that.
yeah, definitely. This is as far as I'm concerned, I consider this as a 3D mixer. So this can mix it's not in 3D because of course all computers aren't in 3D, but it can give you that 3D effect by layering up the different people, the graphics. They've even got one which looks a bit like Star Trek Enterprise, where they bring in a Zoom person from somewhere else. They take away their background. I haven't got a graphic for it, unfortunately. I really should have found the one for that. They take the background off the person, so the person is delivered as a layer inside the space that you've designed in Vizrt, and that is, and they've got the little beam me down, Scotty type of graphic to make it all work.
As if they came in through the transponder. What was that?
The transporter, yeah,
transporter. Thank
yeah.
you. Type of effect. But again, they're doing that all in software within the software that John's talking about this week.
Yeah. And they also have a 3D engine, which is there to understand the space. So your cameras can physically move, and the AI knows what the original background was, and uses some reference points. I mean, I'm guessing that's what it does, but obviously in some way it looks at that background image, compares it when the camera moves, and will then try and make sure that everything else in the 3D space, your drop down sales forecast we have here, they all then move within the image. So as the camera moves, they will continue to move in context to the whole layout, which is quite neat. The tech on that's moved along a lot, hasn't it? The ability to know where cameras are in 3D space.
Yes, absolutely. And again, they might be doing a lot of things locally within their actual product, but we won't know until we try.
And the product is a big box of electronics, undoubtedly a very powerful computer. I have seen specs of an A4000 by Intel inside it, which doesn't surprise me, because if it's doing all this processing, it's going to need a really chunky graphics card. And we're not talking about you gamers graphics cards. We're talking about the big commercial ones.
Right.
And then there's a software license. And that's it. Plug it into your Zoom Rooms. I'm going to give you the price. I'm going to give you what I believe the price is. I believe it's about $10,000 for the hardware and $17,000 a year for the software. Now, as you get off the floor from shock for that price, because it is expensive, I will say, yes, that's a lot of money. However, I will also agree that considering what it could possibly do, and knowing what the bits and bobs shopping list I would have to produce if I wanted to try and do something like this at this level, I don't find the price ridiculous. If I think of how much, and I'll pass this back to you, Mike, if I think about how much most corporates are paying now for their boardroom with all the tech around it, 10,000 for a box and 17,000 to look good at the quarterly sales meetings might be more reasonable.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it's, when we talk about the very large, corporations and such, if you're doing a really sexy, and I'll use John's terminology, sexy looking event, hybrid, in person, et cetera, the amount of equipment that the provider is of, even if they buy it in-house or for the in-house AV team, or if they use a third-party company to bring in the equipment that they would need to do something like John has showed us here, which is doing the actual 3D type scenario, still utilizing the TV, but you can almost think of him, the person that's actually presenting, not actually being there, but that person actually being on Zoom and all of a sudden being hologrammed in and put up on one of the actual local screens in the venue. So there's a lot of potential through their software. And again, it gets to the point of it's up to your imagination, right? When it comes to what you want to show, how you want to show it. So they give you that flexibility of what you want to show, how you want to show, when you want to show it, and why you want to show it, right? So the why is important stuff too, because that comes from the production end of it, where they will say, you know, because this is where if they were the third party vendor, they would ask the client, why do you want to show something like this? And of course, then they have to make sure that the gear that they bring has that capability. And this would definitely have that capability. Is it cheap? No. Is it, is it a solution? Yes. And that is the proper terminology of it. It is a solution that Vizrt is offering the market. Yes, they are targeting higher end and broadcast people, but again, depending on, your cost factor and your clients, you may be a smaller third party vendor that might have 2 or 3 large clients. Well, you may want to invest in this because it would make sense to you, because now you've got the full capabilities of that. Should the client come to you, go, oh yeah, I want to do some 3D stuff. Oh yeah, I want to do Star Trek hologram, teleporting, and we're bringing somebody in from New York, but yet we're in London, London, UK, right? And they have a little sound effect, and they do the whole true Star Trek-y effect and stuff like that. Well, you need proper equipment. You won't be able to do that in production studio. You would have to do that through this product, and then be able to RTMP or even use the Zoom Workplace app to bring that client into production studio to even get something close to having that up there.
Yeah. There's a few points you made there which I really liked. The first thing is, this is a tool. So this is only going to be as good as the imagination, whoever's doing the branding or the graphics. It's up to them to make this look cool, because this is just a tool. The more amazing the graphics can be, then the more amazing this product will be shown to be. The second thing that you said, which I liked, which makes lots of sense, is we're talking about a company which has traditionally, shall we say, up till now, been working with the broadcast industry. This allows a Zoom-based enterprise to now deliver content at the ultimate broadcast level from within their presentation room. Through Zoom rooms, they're able to bring all this broadcast quality entertainment, education, talks, presentations, whatever, into their Zoomiverse and bring out to their customers, or even bring out to their employees. And this gives them a much more professional, a much more TV style type environment, but they're still able to deliver that within their Zoom based system. So you can have this controlling a Zoom based event. If it's running through Zoom rooms, it can be a Zoom webinar, a Zoom meeting, it could be a Zoom anything, and it looks really good. If you can find the use case that justifies the price and the effort to create all the graphics and all the impression of the room around that, then this is, well, as I don't know how many times I've said it in my head, so I'm not sure how many times I said it out loud, but I would use this at the drop of a hat. I believe that they are setting up, well, I know they're setting up a set of demonstration machines in certain locations, and I believe they're going to set one up in London, and I'll be down there as soon as possible to see it when it's available and give it a go. And maybe I'll be able to create some content live there and bring it back for a show. Or maybe I'll do a show from there. Only problem is they'd have to open in the evenings, but never mind. It's certainly the sort of toy that If you're a tech person like me, you just want to get your hands on. But I would also probably find it's going to be hard work to really push it and think of scenarios and graphics and the ways I can use it that really pushes the limit of this product. But this is really neat and handy. This, for me, is the coolest tech you've brought into Zoom. I'm looking forward to seeing what else you can do now, because this is truly fantastic. And I have a message for those people that said, John, I can't use this. It's too complicated. John, I can't use this. It's too blasted expensive. And my answer to you is really simple. By bringing this into the Zoom ecosystem, and for those people that don't even use Zoom, by bringing in the whole concept of TV production into the streaming world, rather than just, frankly, TV studio, record the TV studio and put it onto Zoom, which is sort of what this can do, but isn't really the same. To push the bar out to say, look, we can have production, equipment, and systems and delivery and content that looks just as good as anything you can build for the TV production industry. And we can now quite easily, relatively easily, maybe, bring this into a streaming environment or an online environment, whether it be Zoom or any of the other online streaming platforms. This pushes the bar so far. There's now a big gap now where people can innovate in between. As I think I might have made a comment, I could do some of these clever effects in lesser products. So I could take some of the things that are done here and I could do them in lesser products, reasonably easy. I use vMix and OBS mostly. And on both of those, I know I could drop in a 3D element. I could make it transparent. So I could do the screenshot that you've got there now. That wouldn't be difficult. Doing all the other fancy stuff, yeah, out of my league at the moment, but I could do some of that. And what I'm saying is, because, thank you, Andy, and thank you, Vizrt, the bar has now been raised horrendously high. There is now lots of room for us all to look at what we have and what we can use and make better presentations. Take the whole thing to another level. Let's make the world interesting within Zoom and all the streaming platforms. Let's try and stop these so-called gurus. They are gurus. They are amazing gurus. But so many of them are still living in the world we had 10, 20 years ago, where it's just them on stage or a screen share, says the guy sitting next to a screen share. But you know what I mean. There is so much more that can be done now with all this tech. We just want to push the boundaries. Let's get our audience excited. Crikey, I believe if we take our production values to this higher level with these 3D type effects in presentations, I believe that we get to the point where we are just as interesting, if not more interesting, than TV. And all those people that live on YouTube who just watch talking heads are going to feel bored. And those talking heads are going to start to realize, why aren't I bringing in 3D graphics? Why can't I up my game too? And we should all end up with more interesting presentations. And those people that can't be bothered to do it will just be left behind. That is my prediction for 2026. I think production values this year are really going to go through the roof, because certainly the tech now is rolling out to do that. Mike, is that a challenge too high for everybody, or do you think it's possible?
No, I think that's fair. That, again, it comes down to what your clients need. If you're doing it in-house, you're the in-house AV department, then your expectations have to be set. Yeah, you probably want all the coolest tech out there, and Vizrt would definitely probably be on that list, where you're going, oh, cool, look at all the Zoom stuff I can do, because we use Zoom, because we have Zoom licenses, and we also have Zoom room licenses. So yes, is this a cool product to say, oh, look what I could do if you got me this product, Mr. Manager, Mr. CEO, and look how cool I can make you look, Mr. Sales Department. Yes, 100%. But again, depending on the scale of the company will depend on the scale of the gear slash capabilities that you want to be able to do. Because again, you've got to be careful too that you know if you ask for this type of equipment and it still looks like you're still in regular Zoom, then why are you paying for this equipment? Right? You've got to now take it to that extra level and extra time of learning the craft of Vizrt, and John will help me with the name again, product that it needs dedicated time to learn all its quirks. And it is going to become that tool that you will specialize in and make sure that you become that important to your company, should it be, again, an internal AV department, to make that CEO, that VP of sales, that insert here person from your company, that all of a sudden you are now able to do all kinds of different things, including, heaven forbid, when the CEO has to do pressers with different television outlets or different media outlets, you now can actually use this product as when you're zooming in to that television studio. Now you don't have to rely on their graphic information. You have full control of your graphic information to make your CEO, your representative, your whoever being interviewed from your company to be that much more sexier. Yes, we're using that sexy word today. Sexier on screen, because heaven forbid, John and I have seen it numerous times, and I saw it already a dozen times today before I got on the show today, that somebody's using blur, or somebody's using this, or somebody's using that, or somebody hasn't centered their camera properly. So this would definitely be a huge upgrade of going from a blurred screen to that. That is a major, major upgrade.
All those graphics artists out there who thought they were going to be replaced by AI drawing stuff for them, I think I've just found you a job that you could do. In fact, if you look at the Vizrt website for the training that they make available, the courses, etc., when I found a list of people that had passed whatever the requisite thing was, Mike, most of them were graphics people. it was full of people who had done the graphic side of it.
Right. And again, because again, they've learned the tool, they've learned how to manipulate it properly to get those sexy graphics. And you've got to remember Vizrt, yes. Can you see Vizrt graphics at some of the largest sports events out there? Yes. So do they know what they're doing when it comes to graphics? Absolutely. But you still have to they can give you the template, but you have to brand that template. Or they give you the capabilities of, okay, this is what a template looks like. Now you make it. You make it your own. And here's how.
That's probably why I'm disappointed that the graphic that they have on their website is a pie chart. If you're a financial institution and you want to portray numbers, I'm sure you've got much more imaginative ways of getting that data across to your customers, your investors. I'm sure you've got a better way of doing it than a simple pie chart. So upgrade the graphics in this to, I don't know, little men and little characters or whatever, or if you're selling cars, little cars, and you've got big cars in different years to show the growth, or things like that. Better graphics are just going to look absolutely stupendous. And of course, this is not a slide. So it could be a 3D animated graphic coming in there. That would look really cool. And I know that this company and other companies have much more exciting tools than just simple flat graphs, which frankly this example is. It's just a flat graph at an angle. They can produce much more sexy, gosh, we've used that word too much, 3D types of graphics, animated 3D types of graphics. Now and again, even on the BBC, we sometimes get those as well. We should have those as a standard. And then they look good. And then it looks good. And then everybody will be impressed. And they will be engaged. Because let's face it, we are in a competitive world now of eyeballs. And if you're not interesting and you're not engaging, you will not hold on to your customers. And we all know now that I hate to say this because it really hurts me and it took me years to get over this. The best product is not the one that sells. It's the one that looks the best, that sounds the best, that feels the best. That is the one that sells. There is a story, I'm pretty sure it's true, that people were told that when they wanted to sell the Tesla, they had to take the customer out for a test drive, find a nice quiet street where they won't be disturbed, and basically ask the customer to floor it so they could feel the energy and the power of an electric motor from a standing start. And the rumor even got to the point where they said that the salespeople didn't get the full commission unless they'd done this to the customer, even if they got a sale. Whether or not that story is true, I think it makes the point that I'm not saying that Teslas are good or bad. What I'm saying is it's the experience that you give in your presentations that can mean more than the actual numbers, because it's the impression that we get into our head and the way we feel after the numbers are shown is going to make just as much impact as the fact that we're making profits and the curve's going upwards. I've tried not to gush too much about this product, but I really would like one. And even if I can't have one, I now feel compelled to have to compete against this new standard and to update my graphics. And I'm not sure how I do that within the production studio environment, but we'll certainly find out when I start playing with things. But we will now have to compete with this fantastic new product. Maybe we'll get to use it at some point and show you what it does. If we don't, I will probably cry myself to sleep for the next few weeks, but never mind. I'll get over it. I'm a big boy now. I can find some other toys, but this is the most exciting toy that I've seen connected to Zoom, and this, dare I say, this is a game changer for the year. It'll be interesting to see what other people can do in competition to this. It'll be interesting to see what I can do in competition with this using lesser products. But now, thanks to the work by Andy and all the partners that he's found around the world for Zoom, the presentation world, the production and broadcast world, and the Zoom world are now getting closer and closer together every day. And all I can say is it's damn exciting to be in this industry. Thank you very much. Your closing lines, Mike, will be much better than mine, so I'll let you close the show.
Sure, of course. So Vizrt is, they've been around for many, many years. Many of you might know Vizrt buying out New Tech, which of course is the guys and gals that came up with NDI. So again, they do have credibility in that regards. So Vizrt, before they bought New Tech, let me say it that way. Before Vizrt bought New Tech, they were strictly, wait for it, a graphics generating company. So they might know a 2 or 3 or 14 how to do a graphic and how to make graphics really, and yes, I'm going to say it before we wrap up, sexy. They get, there are many companies that will not look at the new tech product line of Vizrt and still go, Vizrt, you're still a graphics company. In their mind, that is still their main go-to is we do graphics really well, really, really well. And everybody really, really likes that. And I'm talking the broadcast world here. So now they're bringing it down maybe just a little bit, not a huge amount, because again, it's the price is in the pudding, right? It is what it is. So the price point is still the price point. But is it more affordable than it used to be? Probably. Do they know they have to do that if they want to integrate Zoom and be able to get that extra market that they haven't had before? Non-broadcasters? But pro AV guys? Are they going after prosumers, to be honest, gang? Not really. Now, if you can afford the pricing, then chances are you're not prosumer anymore either. So again, that's where they are making sure that they don't necessarily want this to be OBS free. They don't necessarily want to necessarily be vMix or Ecamm or Mimo Live, even though, again, everybody that's watching it going, oh, I could do this on all those products. Of course you could. How well is up to you now. How well do you have to manipulate the software if the software does have the capabilities or does not have the capabilities currently built in to get to this point? This is very, very important. So if you can tolerate waiting and making your own homebrew version of what Vizrt has been doing for years in the graphics world, and them just going, oh, I could do this in Zoom? How do I do this in Zoom, Andy? And Andy gave them the quote unquote secret sauce. And now they have that secret sauce. And now you see what you see. And that's exactly what we're talking about here, being able to do something just like this. John and I have had talks with Stream Alive, and Stream Alive does similar things. And many of you might say, oh, Stream Alive. Yeah, correct. But do they do it 3D yet? No. Can they do a hologram of bringing in the Zoom person? No, that's not their focus. So you see where Vizrt can take you across all kinds of different genres with this product and take your event to that next higher level using, in this case, the Zoom. And I'll let John finish up and actually let everybody know what the product names are again. But that's what I see. But yes, Vizrt has risen the bar. Let's see who can beat it.
I can't remember the names, but I have a presentation here so I can go back and remind myself. So Vizrt CaptivAIte, spelled VAITE, is this product we're talking about, this fantastic, expensive, but amazing product. And then if you just want the graphics within the little window I'm here, that is interactive AI. I'm not sure where the AI is, but there's some AI doing stuff in the background. One of the things I didn't mention was they've got, gotta be careful how I say this, because it's great that they've got it, but this is a good example of them not yet integrating with Zoom. They've got an ability to do a quiz, but their quiz gets you to go to an external piece of software that they have. Sorry, guys, that's not good enough. You need to integrate the quiz into Zoom properly if you really want to impress us. Because I can do it. And if I can do it, and I'm a one-man band programmer who only gets to write software about, well, I'm lucky if I get 2 days a week doing coding, compared to these big organizations which have lots of programmers. So it's a great start. And they did say they would look at doing enhancements. And again, this is not just a criticism of them. This is a criticism of all you people, including myself. The better the screen graphics here connect to what is in Zoom. Like, for instance, we've got really boring, whoops, wrong side. We've got really boring name tags here. These are the standard name tags that are part of Zoom events. Now, we can all create much better name tags than those. We can all create much better graphics than those. But you want that graphics to integrate with the people in the room, because these ones, for instance, although they're boring, they are made automatically. All Mike and I needed to do was to fill in the boxes in Zoom events, and this graphic was created for us automatically. So what I'm saying is, if you want to take your graphics interaction, whether you're Vizrt or myself or StreamAlive or any of the other guys that have done things in the Zoom marketplace, none of you have yet gone to the point where it is interactive with what happens in Zoom. And if you don't do that, well, my belief is the one that does that to the best and still looks sexy is going to be the winner. And at the moment, I've done it more than the rest, which embarrasses me, to be honest. To be honest, it embarrasses me. I obviously haven't done my job as a Zoom community dev champion to encourage them to put more dev into their software. But it is a great start. I suggested it's like a Trojan horse. And it is a Trojan horse. But then all these little overlay graphic programs are a Trojan horse, because they take us from just a boring head on a screen to, we can add interactive graphics on our video window. And that's the first step on a very long road to going to this other product. This simple overlay of a few boxes around a character on a screen is a start. And it's a start on the road to their 3D bringing in graphics model product as well. It's all rungs on a ladder, steps on a stage to presentation nirvana. I don't know. I hadn't really thought about that, but it is something which I think, again, if you don't look good on the screen, take it back to the start. If you don't have a decent camera, which you don't have a blurred background, you get rid of the blurred background. You go to, perhaps what I've got is a blank background. You go to a bit more fancy background like Mike's got. Then you start adding graphics and images and overlays and things like that. You gradually just keep improving. And the people that look good, and we know this from, take YouTube, for instance, YouTube or Twitch, all the gamers, the gamers don't just, you don't have a video of them sort of staring at a screen. Well, they won't be on the camera. Will they be staring at a screen with a joystick in their hand? That's not the way they operate now. They have scores. They have interactive messages coming from their supporters on the screen. They've got extra graphics about the game and links and all that sort of stuff. You need to pack the information in, and this graphical area you have here is a great place to do it. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you. Humble thank you to Mr. Colocho. Andy, you've done a great job. This is a great company to have working within this industry now. Gosh, if I had nothing to do, I would have run around with my little checkbook and I would buy one of these. And I would then run around to the corporates and say, look, guys, you can't afford this, but you can rent mine. and I would run around doing all the big events for all the corporates. I would go around the city of London and I would just knock on the doors, and I would know that if I got one of those city financiers to do a presentation using my graphics, the rest of the square mile would all be lining up to do the next presentation because they're all in a competitive industry and they'd all want to keep up with it. This is wonderful. I'm a happy boy. I will sleep better now. I have departed my thoughts to you, because it's you guys that can really take this and make the most of it. Not me, not Mike. Unfortunately, we've got other things to do, but we'll play with it if we get the chance, please. But it's something now fantastic for you in the broadcast industry to take advantage of. Find all those little graphics experts and all those little designers, make your nice 3D graphics. This is fantastic. I think I should go and have a drink, really, and calm down, because my little heart is beating 10 to the dozen, as my mum would say. Thank you, Mike, for joining me on this. Thank you to Andy and Vizrt for making such a wonderful product. No, sorry, Mike, I didn't mean to cut you off there. Thank you so much for being on this. Without your idea of what the industry is, I wouldn't have known where to go with this particular product at all.
Yeah, no problem. Always glad to help out, John. Do we want to remind everybody about our shows weekly, John?
I think we should. We have spent a little bit of time and effort in putting a graphic together for this. So we have 3 regular shows now, and they're all at different times of the day because that's just the way the world and the calendars work. But we have our Monday show is primarily talking to those people that wish to do presentations, want to organize presentations, run webinars. So it's for the presenters. But those people that are supporting presenters are welcome and will find it useful. On Tuesday is our main show, our weekly show, where we just find stuff that we think is really cool and bring it to the entire Zoom community. And on Fridays, this show is dedicated to the broadcast industry. Okay, it probably will have something to do with Zoom because that's the world in which we are working in, but it is around the broadcast industry. It was great to talk to you about Vizrt. I believe that I will be able to go and see them when they have this product ready, will make sense, in London, and we can talk about some of their other products in more detail. We do have invitations out, and I'm looking for responses now from other people in that world of broadcast and presentation graphics. And we will hopefully bring some more of them to you on these Fridays. If you have something you particularly like to talk about or ask about, then just put it in the YouTube chat and we will pick it up and take advantage of that. But otherwise, I wish you a good weekend. Thank you, Mike. Over to you and the music.
All right. Have a great week, everyone. See you next week.
We open wide the virtual stage where ideas spark and wisdom fills the page. From the UK to the land of maple trees, John and Mike bring clarity with ease. We're building meetings, webinars with might, helping you shine your message, taking flight. Whether you're new or you've done this before, Lord Zoom Live will help you do much more. We're building meetings, webinars with might, helping you shine your message, taking flight. Whether you're new or you've done this before, Lord Zoom Live will help you do much more. Thank you for joining us, we're glad you're here. Together we grow, it's loud and clear. On Zoom we connect, we learn, we grow. Welcome my friend, enjoy the show. To breakout rooms with flair, we've got the tools and we're ready to share. Guest experts drop in, bringing gold each time with insights insights and tricks to help you climb. Can't make it live, we've got you still. On YouTube and LinkedIn, we're giving that thrill. So tune in later or catch us next round. Either way, your success is where we're bound. Thank you for joining us, we're glad you're here. Together we grow, it's loud and clear. On Zoom we connect, we learn, we glow. Welcome my friend, enjoy the show. And make it live, we've got you still. On YouTube and LinkedIn, we're giving that thrill. So tune in later or catch us next round. Either way, your success is where we're bound. Now take the spotlight, the stage is yours. Bring your message through virtual doors. Each week we gather, and now you know you're not alone, so let it flow. Thank you for joining us, now go and shine. Share what you've learned, your voice, your time. With Lord Zoom Live, your power will grow. It's time to build your own show.